up, everybody? This is Miss Grant, and I'm the Alumni Success Counselor for DCP. And today's video is going to be about the syllabus. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to be bombarded with syllabi. So I thought it'd be important to review a sample one, give you some tips on what you should be looking out for. I'm also going to be going over how to translate that into a calendar so it can be helpful to you to plan and kind of stay ahead of the game. If you have any questions, always you could reach out to me or one of your mentors. We'd be happy to sit with you and kind of review your syllabus or help you plan if that's needed. So I hope that you find it helpful.
All right, y'all, I had to move places because my neighbor decided to vacuum his car right in the middle of my video. So anyway, here is a sample of a college syllabus. Obviously, every class is going to have a very different format, but for the most part, you can find all of these things in every single syllabus, or you should. This professor specifically has said that this is going to be a rough draft, that they're going to have updated or hopefully a final one by the 19th of August. Please be patient with your professors, y'all. Like at this point, right, all of the professors are adjusting to online learning if they haven't done it before. So their stuff may not be ready to go even days before classes start. Some of them, are able to do that, but some of them are still kind of adjusting and getting used to this new format. So make sure, that you're being patient and just also kind of understanding that they're human and dealing with the pandemic while being professors. So anyway, let's dive into this syllabus. So some of the things that you want to be looking out for, the main things is obviously their contact information. This professor will have their email. Some professors will even share a phone number that you can text. Be considerate of when you contact them, but it's going to be super important that you have their contact information saved. The other really important thing for you to keep in mind or look for is their office hours, right? When are they available? When can you hit them up? When will they be responding to your stuff? A lot of the times professors, even though they get emails, they won't start responding until their office hours. Some professors will only respond to stuff during their office hours. So it's super important for you to know when those are. And obviously, if they don't work with your schedule, that you try to contact your professor to see if you can set up another time to check in with them. The other thing that you want to look out for is when your class times are. So right now, especially because we're in distance learning, some classes are going to be at specific times, and other classes are going to be on your own. For this particular class, it says online, meaning that the student who take this class would be able to take to access the material, to access the lectures at any time, right? It's going to be up to your pace. You have a lot of flexibility of when you actually take the classes, whereas other classes are at specific times, the times you have to log on and do the lectures and all of that. So be sure that you are checking for that so you are not, lost and not sure where your lectures are or if you missed them or anything like that. The other thing you want to look for is the format of the course. Now, like I said, every syllabus is different and they're going to have it structured differently. So don't think that it's going to be in the same order, but for the most part, there will be a section that tells you more about how the course is going to be formatted, right? For this particular class, everything's going to be online. Like I said, right, there's not going to be any in-person or office hours, and the professor is making sure that you understand that all classes and can be accessed through Canvas. So Canvas is just one of the online systems that colleges use. Check out your portal to see what system your college uses, whether it's Canvas, whether it's iLearn or Blackboard, right? There's different ones that colleges use, so you want to get familiar with that. There's some course description. A lot of the times you already know that because that's why you sign up for the class. You can always read through it in depth, but I'm not going to do that for this video. The other really important thing in your syllabus is your textbooks. What textbooks are you actually going to use, right? And so here they'll give you the name of the book that you're going to need, the edition that you're going to need to buy. So for some textbooks, there's multiple editions, meaning that there's different things in every single one of them, right? A lot of the times it could be one page difference, it could be one chapter difference. So what I would recommend is ask if you can buy an older edition. Right, there's some books that don't have editions, but if you see this last part here, like ED or it says edition, ask them like, hey, is it okay to buy an older one? Because chances are the older editions are actually much cheaper than the new ones. So ask them for that.
So I'm going to link below a website that has a bunch of different websites where you can also purchase your books. I highly recommend that you check them out, spend a couple hours maybe after your first week of class, really looking through every single one of those websites and seeing where you can get the best deal for these books. You don't have to buy it at the bookstore. You don't have to buy them or get them from Amazon specifically, right? There's a bunch of other websites. I'd also recommend following Miss Santa's advice, which is to log onto Facebook, see if there's any Facebook groups where students are, selling back their books. Is usually a lot cheaper than buying them from the bookstore. Um, so make sure that you spend some time doing that. There's ebooks, meaning that you can read them on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, and there's also hardcover books. It really all depends on what your budget is like and how you learn best. I know for myself, it's really hard for me to read on the computer, but if I have access to it on my phone, then it's a lot easier for me to read. I also like to highlight and write stuff, so it's really hard for me to be rent the book. But if I had to do it, I had to do it. There's also some books that they do loosely, so it's not like binded and stuff like that. A lot of times, those are a lot cheaper to either buy or rent. And then the other thing is, of course, ask or check out your library or check out the school library to see if the professor put the book maybe for reserve that you could check it out, or maybe if it's available right at your public library. That way, you don't have to spend money on it. The other really important thing, especially given online learning and everything like that, you want to know if there's going to be any other online systems that you're going to have to use. So, for example, this professor is going to be using stapling learning, right? Which is I'm not really sure, I'm not familiar with it, but it's another online system, and it looks like that's where the homework is going to be either given or submitted. So be sure to check out your syllabus to see if there's anything else that you need to be aware of aside from Canvas or whatever online system your school is going to be using. Your professors may be having their own separate thing. For this professor specifically, they are letting students know that there is a $40 fee that they're going to have to pay. So make sure that you are checking that out so you can not only budget for it, but that you can have access to the system, so you're not falling behind. The other super, super, super important thing on your syllabus is going to be your assignment and grading policy. There's a lot of people that go super into detail and calculate every single like assignment, how much they're going to get. If you're that type of person, you could do that here. For me, if you're the most important thing is I want to know how many exams are going to be happening. I need to know, if I'm going to be able to retake them, if I'm not, blah, 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 right? So check out those things to see your assignments, if maybe participation is going to be part of your grade, if you're going to have to participate in discussions, if you're going to have to take quizzes. For this specific course, the professor is saying that there's going to be 3 exams and a final, right? So that means 4 exams. They also tell you that the lowest midterm will be dropped. So that's something that, can give you some peace of mind. So if you have a really, rough midterm or whatever, that that's actually not going to be counted toward your final grade. It's going to be dropped. And they actually also said that the lowest midterm, 10% of that midterm is going to count as extra credit. So that's very, very generous of the professor. Not all professors are like that. So you just have to become familiar with your professor's policies. Every class is going to be different. So you're going to have to do this for every single syllabus that you have. There's also, here this professor is going to give the students points for in-class quizzes, which means that you're going to have to be in class, right? That you're going to have to be showing up, taking them in order to get those points. Also, for this particular professor, they're saying that there is no makeup exam. So if you miss it or whatever, you can make it up. So it's super important to know that, especially now because things are online, because it's easy to slip and forget about, a certain day or whatever, or maybe something, wild is happening. You get sick, somebody gets sick. It's super important for you to know that it is going to affect your grades. So if you need to go out of town, if you're not going to have access or anything like that, do your best to communicate with your professor as early as possible. As soon as you know that it's going to be an issue, then go ahead and contact them. Okay, so there's, a lot more into detail. There's a lot of the university policies, when you can drop, when you can add the class. So that's super important. You can read through that on your own. And there's also a section about academic integrity. Obviously, no plagiarizing, but specifically what plagiarizing means for your university or that class. If you're someone who benefits or who needs accessibility services, there is information on how to get those. Also, you can reach out to me to make sure you are getting those resources, student technology, blah, 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 a bunch of other important stuff that you should look over on you by yourself. And the other really, really, really big thing is the actual breakdown of when things are going to happen, right? So the professors give you kind of like an overview or a timeline of what they expect, when you're going to be covering which topics, when things are going to be happening. And it could all be like key for you to feel prepared, right? Also understand that life changes, things happen, and your syllabus may not be like right on the dot, and that's just life. But for the most part, this is a pretty good guide. So you can prepare, and also so you know exactly what to study. So this professor here is telling you, what days are going to be off. They're also going to tell you when your exams are going to happen and what they're going to be covering. So it tells you exactly what you need to study for. You don't need to be studying for exam one for this particular course. You don't need to be studying chapter 1 through 3. It's not going to cover it, right? Maybe it's important for you to know, but it's only going to cover chapter 5, 6, and 7. So in order for this to actually be helpful and not just another overwhelming piece of paper, what you want to do is actually translate it into a calendar. I use Google Calendars because it's easy, and I can download it to my phone, and I already know how to work it. You can obviously use any other calendar that you feel comfortable, but I'm gonna just show you Google Calendars for the purposes of this video. So what you'll do is you go onto your calendar, and you're gonna kind of looks like this. You can actually create a specific calendar for your class, which is what I would recommend. So I have a bunch of calendars here, right? But you scroll down, and then what it says other calendars, you click that little plus sign right there, and then you're going to create a new calendar. And then you can name it. I'm going to name it Econ because that's the name of the class. I think it's Econ whatever number. Oh, 1A. And then I'm going to create the calendar. Right? You can decide if you want to make it bougie, if you want to make it nice, all of that stuff, right? But you can see right here that it says, Econ 1A. You can change the color later, blah, 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 right? But what I'm going to do is, well, this is going to be important. Yeah, I care to know what material is going to be covered, but really the most important thing is, when is this going to happen? And this first exam is going to happen on Wednesday, September 16th. So I'll go over here to September 16th. Right? And then I'm gonna label it exam, all in all caps, so it stands out, and I'm gonna put Econ exam 1. And I want to remind myself that it's gonna cover chapter 5, 6, and 7, right? So y'all, this is so important. Right? This is the key to actually make this thing helpful. You can add on a little notification, right? And there's two options. You could do a notification, literally it pops up and it tells you that, hey, this is coming, or you can get an email. I like to do both because sometimes I'll just like swipe my notification. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, right? So I will do an email, and you can do it as many days ahead, as many, whatever. So I can't function to an advance. Like if it's like, I need that pressure of like, oh my God, this is happening. So I'm going to put 5 days before, which is, it gives me a whole week, right, to think about, oh, okay, I got to do it. And I'm actually going to do it in an email because I know that I'm going to read it. It's going to be in my mind. I'm not ready for a notification. I'm just going to swipe because my brain's like, it's still too long in advance, right? 5 days, I'm going to get an email. I'm going to add a second notification. I actually want to get, or I said, I'm going to add another reminder. I actually want to get a notification this time 2 days before. 2 days before, not 29 days, and 2 days before that this is happening. So if I haven't studied in those last 5 days, I'm actually like, oh shoot, I really got to study, or I really got to block out my time, right? And so you can add as many notifications as you want for the night before, for everything like that, right? So you can actually add that, right? And now that you know that this exam is going to happen on the 16th of September, you can actually say, oh, okay, well, I'm seeing here that by the 12th of September, I should be done with chapter 7. I'm going to have the September 9th off. So usually I always add stuff like, oh, no school, because, I love just having a break. So realistically, I'm probably not, if I'm the student, I'm not really going to do any studying on that day. But if based on the syllabus, the professor is saying that by the week of, by the 12th, or which is this week, we're going to be done with chapter 7, then I should already be ready to study chapter 5 and chapter 6, right? So given that my exam is going to be the 16th, I actually want to block out my day a few days in advance and say, okay, on the 10th, I'm going to do study, right? Because I want my brain to know. Econ chapter 6. And then I don't want to do it at 2. I actually want to do it first thing in the morning. So I'm going to do it at 9:30 and only 1 hour. Just 1 hour. That's all I'm going to do. That's all my brain can handle. I can, add a couple more sessions here or extend this study session if I wanted to. I can do it over a couple of days. Literally, you just click it and then it goes. You can, fill it down or change the dates on here. Do anything that you want. You should add your class time so it doesn't interfere. But obviously, I don't have that here. And so, there's a couple exams here, and it tells you exactly when they are, what they're going to be covering. And the other really important thing that you want to put on here is when your final exam is. So for this particular class, the final exam is going to be on Monday, December 7th. And again, it's only going to cover chapters 15, 16, and 17. So same exact thing, right? The final is super important. So I'm going to go to December 7th and I'm going to add, my final exam. And just like the other ones, right, I'll add some notifications. I'll add, that I want some reminders through email or just like a pop-up notification. I'm actually going to put 10 days and it'll remind me. Actually, we want to do exam final or econ final. So I know what I'm talking about, right? And so just as I did earlier, right, you want to go backwards. So if your final is going to be on the 7th, then you can look at the week before, right, and see what days am I going to study? How long do I want to study? This also will help you if you're a working student, because that way you can know, like, actually, you could tell your employer weeks in advance, like, hey, this week I'm actually going to not be available, or I'm only available in the mornings, I'm only available in the evenings. And it's just going to give you some peace of mind. We have other videos that talk about time management, how much you should be studying, all of that. But this is just kind of a quick overview of what actually to do with your syllabus. The other thing that I like to add on here too, sometimes depending on the class and if I actually feel like I may actually need it, is when I should be checking with the professors, right? When I should be checking with the TAs. This particular syllabus does not have TA information, but there may be other classes that do, that also have their TA contact info, that have information for the writing center, blah blah blah. So that may be stuff that I want to put on here, right? So like professor whatever, office hours, right? And I'm not gonna put it that I'm busy. I'm actually gonna just put it as I'm free. That's a free time. That's just for me to FYI, for me to know, like if I need help, that's when I can contact this professor, right? Or I could just put econ A. I'm just labeling this cost. I don't even know what it's called. Right, Econ 1A office hours. That way I know that, okay, on this day, and I can, to repeat it if I want to, or whatever, customize it, blah, blah, blah. There's all these things that you could do on your Google Calendar or whatever calendar. I don't know about other calendars, but definitely Google Calendar you can do, right? So that's just one example of what you can do with your syllabus. This is literally the Bible for your class. It's going to tell you what to study, what you need to worry about, what you don't need to worry about, if you're ahead of the game or if you're actually a little bit behind. Please use this and don't let it just sit there, because your professors work really hard on this, and it also is going to allow you to have some freedom, right? Like, again, it's going to remind you when you can study, when you don't need to be worrying, and all of that good stuff. All right. Well, that was a lot of talking. I hope that you find these videos helpful. I try to just do an overview, but like I mentioned at the beginning, every syllabus is going to be very different. If you want to look at your particular syllabi and plan backwards or help you with whatever, please reach out to either myself, Miss Sanchez, if you're going to a 4-year, or if you're going to community college, hit up Ms. Martinez at El Primero, or Carla at Alum High. We are more than happy to help. We're more than happy to sit down with you and review these documents and, just help you be as successful as possible. It's going to be a rough time. We're all trying to adjust. We're all trying to live this in this new reality. So be patient, be super proud of yourself and just be kind. Be kind to yourself. You're learning. Things are very different. They're very stressful. So, just enjoy the ride. And I hope that you stay tuned for the next video. If there's something particular you want to see or you want me to go over, you can always hit me up, or you can comment too, but I don't know how that works. So just hit me up, and I'm happy to go and do some more of these videos. One day we'll be YouTube famous. So anyway, all right, y'all. Have a good one. Wash your hands, wear a mask, practice good social distancing, and good luck.